name is Jeff. This is 2A Self-Defense Law. What we do is we help people understand the law of self-defense in the simplest terms possible. We take the fear out of getting it wrong. Last week I was discussing a little bit about the tell little. Now we're going to go to the opposite end of the pole in saying when you talk too much, you may be giving up too much, and it will hurt you. Right here is Stephen Maddox. He's on the right. Mike Darter is on the right, on the left, and Mike is one of the original guys for CCW Safe. The company was born out of his use of force incident as a police officer. I think it was 20 plus years ago, and that's how CCW Safe went on. CCW Safe is the only membership legal defense company that has successfully defended a murder one case, and this is Stephen Maddox. I'm not going to be talking about the incident that he was in. I will link the video below for you to get the full context of it. What he is going to be discussing with you is the 3-hour interview with the police and how it hurt him. This is what happens when you talk too much. The tell little is this. This is what Ayoob recommends. Most lawyers do not recommend this, but some of you people out there may be absolutely able to do the talk little. Talk little is, here's the evidence, that's the guy who tried to kill me, witnesses are over there, gun, knife, whatever is over here, he shot from me over there. That kind of factual data points. After that, you shut up. All right. I'm going to let Stephen Maddox do most of the talking, but this is the wisdom behind shut up.
Yeah, I actually, felt similar. I think that was one of my downsides when I decided to cooperate hours after the most physical altercation I had in my entire life, right? And that kind of hurt me. It's this natural instinct when you're not trying to hide something to be as transparent as possible, right? But that experience that night, days later, a week after, 2 weeks later, and even sometime now, it was almost like a horror file that was running and just crashed and it fragmented into a bunch of pieces. And now, someone's trying to pull those pieces together and tell the story. And that's how it felt like.
Now, that's a good point to discuss. I'm not going to get into this also because it's another huge topic, is adrenaline and how adrenaline affects your body. When he's talking about your mind crashing and putting little pieces together, you may have that. If you do not know how your body reacts to adrenaline, this is something that you need to take a look at. You need to intellectually be honest with yourself about this scenario when someone is trying to kill you and you absolutely believe someone is trying to kill you. You need to learn about how adrenaline works in the body. I won't get into it. It's too long of a topic.
My mind was. So there were certain things that night, as far as what street my job was on. I gave them, aviation versus airport boulevard. I wasn't lying. It was something that could be checked right away. I had the number of incorrect children. I told them how many children I had, I counted the children living with me versus the children I had. And you're rushing trying to give answers and, what school does your daughter go to? I gave the incorrect college.
And that's another perfect example, is that when you're being interviewed by the police, they're asking you all these baseline questions, and if you start to lie or misspeak about it, like he was saying between or his work on airport or aviation, little things like that may tend to making you look like that you're a liar and that you're an actual bad guy.
And it wasn't that I was lying. These are things that you can kind of fact check, right? By just, looking into it. But I was rushing trying to be so helpful that night with giving them as much information as possible. and mentally you're not prepared for that.
Right.
Your mind's not prepared to
Right.
to download and give everything in that chronological order.
Thing I would like to discuss about how adrenaline works in the body is that there is a specific reason why officer-involved shootings, they don't interview the police officer that shot his gun right away, because it takes at least 2 sleeps before your mind can process exactly what happened.
And sometimes you get things wrong. It wasn't that I was lying. So fortunately for me, things worked out. But going back and looking at that interview, that 3 hours, you see I'm struggling trying to answer the simplest thing.
And they don't, the investigators don't know, they don't know you personally. So they don't know why, he has 3 kids, but he says 2 or whatever it was. They don't know that. If they would have known that, that would have definitely been a key for them to say, wait a minute, this guy he's not in the right mindset. The problem is, I think, though, with people, when you get involved in something like that, it's human nature to want to justify yourself immediately. I mean, it's just human nature. Something happens like that, you want to make sure that you justify yourself and you get.
This is very important. Good people want to do the right thing, and a lot of the time, you believe the right thing is talking to the police. All right, it may not be. It really depends on what your personality is. Okay, if you are scatterbrained, scatterbrained isn't the right word. If you are not cognitively aware that you're making these small verbal mistakes, it could cost you dearly.
You get out what you have to say, and it's hard to be able to step back. We were talking about earlier about being able to step back.
Right.
And we're talking about, you can't just step back 1 layer. Mm-hmm. You have to step back like 10 layers to be able to see things that are going on. And it's hard to be able to step back in any situation, whether it's a self-defense incident or, some other altercation, smaller altercation elsewhere, or even within a home, but it's hard for people to do that. And especially when you have that critical stress going on, it's very hard to be able to step back.
Right.
And that's one thing. I don't think you did anything wrong that night. I think it was interpreted wrong. But again, they don't know you personally.
Yeah.
That's one.
I definitely think that in hindsight, that's something I should have done. And I think also would have forced them to go out there and interview the witnesses that were out there, 100, 200, 300 people out there. But the fact that you have this guy, say, I did admit that I shot him, but they left out all the facts up to it.
Right.
And so it was just easy for him to say, all right, we got everything on tape. He admitted doing it. He admitted, had I not cooperated that night, they would have been forced to go out there. But they spent so much time on me because I was willing to cooperate versus being on a crime scene.
Yeah.
So
that's what you're going to be dealing with if you did decide to blather out. And Stefan actually makes a pretty good idea, talk through his experience that if he did shut up, it would force the officers to actually go out and interview other people that was at his scene. Again, I'm going to put the link of his entire video down below, and you can understand what happened with his use of force incident. The person did attack him 3 separate times, and he did defend himself with a handgun, and that person perished, obviously, with a first-degree murder charge on him. So let's go wrap this up in a little bow. You're going to have to decide. You're going to have to educate yourself on Massad Ayoob's Tell Little. You're going to have to educate yourself on how adrenaline can work in a body, and then you decide. You decide what you want to do. Do you want to shut up like what 99.9% of the criminal defense attorneys out there tell you to do? And I'll be honest with you, most of those criminal defense attorneys have never done a good guy self-defense claim before, because it's not wholly prevalent. What they'll say is, yeah, I've done self-defense cases because it is a criminal defending his criminal empire, and he shot and killed somebody, and now he's trying to justify his criminal empire, his criminal act on defending himself. Okay, those are what most attorneys tend to deal with. So you shut up. You could leave if you shut up, and the person attacked you with a gun. And I'm just going to bastardize the idea a little bit. Let's say a criminal attacked you with his gun on a bridge. You defended yourself, and then the gun fell into the river. Are you not going to say anything? Are you not going to tell the police officer that you were attacked by this person with a gun and the gun went into the river? Are you not going to do that? Now, other lawyers will say, well, yeah, don't give them that information. Talk to me 3, 4, 5 days later after you're trying to find a lawyer, and then they'll have an investigator go out and try to find it. Well, no. I mean, you're going to have to decide what you want to do. So we have the tell little, basically the tell little, and if you're able to do that with the qualifications that I gave before, you are going to start looking like the victim. Okay, you're going to start sending the police officers on a path to find out exculpatory evidence on you. Now, the defense attorneys are going to say, well, the police don't have to prove that it was self-defense. All the police have to do is disprove one of the 5 elements, okay, beyond a reasonable doubt. And because that is a high degree of evidence, lawyers don't want to produce positive evidence. All they want to do is say, no, it's the state's job to produce negative evidence that it was a self-defense event. And the third thing is blathering all to the police. Exactly what happened with Stephen Maddox. He went through a traumatic event, and his mind wasn't there. It didn't work out for him. Now, George Zimmerman, on the other hand, did a long videotaping of the incident, and it kind of worked out for him. Now, I don't know exactly how long after that. It's been too many years. I don't know how many days or hours or whatever George Zimmerman made that statement. But again, you need to have 2 or 3 good sleeps before your mind starts working. All right. My name is Jeff. This is 2A Self-Defense Law. I hope this helps.